Hi, I'm Eugene Obah, the host of Fit to Speak, and I wanted to take some time to have a little bit of a bonus commentary here about all of, or at least much of the developments surrounding men's basketball, Maryland men's basketball over the last few days. So much drama, so much insight that we got to step back a little bit and analyze what all of this stuff means for the future of the men's basketball program, as well as some of the other stuff that has cropped up, including Damon Evans's departure to SMU. And then there's also one person who I believe, who was on the hot seat, and his seat just got hotter. So I'll explain that towards the end. But first, with Kevin Willard leaving, as many of you well know, he is left for Villanova. And I think that there are some people that miss the point. There are a few people out there that I think miss the larger point. The issue here is not so much the fact that he left. Okay. I think that anybody has the right to decide what is best for them. People have the right to entertain offers. People have the right to decide, okay, depending on their situation, this is where I want to go, or this is where I want to end up. So him leaving, Kevin Willard, that is, him leaving for Villanova was not the issue. The issue was how he decided to do so. It was kind of a soap opera type stuff. It was like, oh, kind of this will he, won't he? He skipped out on the team dinner. He was on the podium. He was like, as of now, I am the head coach of the men's basketball program at Maryland. And notice that when he said that, okay, when he said that at the podium, he used, actually, before I even get to that part of it, the fact that he said, as of now, I I know how to parse the English language. I like to think that I know how to parse the English language pretty well. And that was a hedge. That was a hedge. And at that point, just that point alone, I kind of sort of knew, you know what? He gone. The guy has left. And apparently, according to some of the reporting that I have seen, this was all a done deal a long while ago. I think this goes back apparently to February, that this was all kind of sort of done, all but done at least. So the whole thing about, I haven't talked to my agent, I haven't talked to my wife, blah, 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 that sort of thing. It was all very, very, very disingenuous. And I think that kind of sort of puts a bit of a damper on what should be really a real celebration for the University of Maryland. The first Sweet 16 in 10 years. I mean, I was in College Park. The energy that was there on the night of the Sweet 16 was just palpable. But I think that this would have been even more exciting had Kevin Willard not really kind of sort of strung people along. And that's the thing. Again, it's not so much that he left, it is how he left. And even some of the local restaurants, I mean, Jimmy's Famous Seafood, if you've seen some of the social media from them, I mean, when you start losing some of these local places, it's kind of sort of something else. And I think it's kind of a bit of a shame, really, that he decided to go out kind of sort of scorched earth in the way that he did. Um, any goodwill that he brought, that he built up in the 3 years that he was here. Now, I know that last year was a down season. The first season was pretty nice. Second season was not as great. And then this past season was just fantastic. So you'd think that, that you would try and maintain some level of goodwill in all of this, but I think any goodwill that he had, built up has just evaporated on the back of this. And if I were somebody involved with Villanova, I would have to step back and think twice as to whether or not do I really want this guy? Do I really want this guy, the kind of character that he kind of sort of brought with him? Do I really want that representing my institution? I am not so sure really about that. And what is remarkable to me is that still, as of the time of this recording, he has not made any sort of statement thanking uh, the fans, thanking the public at Maryland for his time, that this was a memorable season, that sort of thing, and we wish you guys well. He hasn't made any sort of statement, and that I think speaks sadly to the character. And I do believe that character is just as important, if not more so, than talent. I have worked with people. I've been in the broadcast industry for 14 years. Just as a bit of an aside, I've worked in the broadcast industry for 14 years. I have worked with people who I believe are absolutely brilliant, but I've also worked with some people who, while they were very good at what they did, their attitudes kind of sort of stunk. And I can tell you that there are people, and I keep a list of people who really, in my head, I'm like, there are some of you that I've worked with that I would not hire for any of the productions that we do at Common Sense Entertainment if they were the last people on the earth. Again, a lot of brilliant people who were very great and would love to work with. And they were good at what they do and also good in their character. Those are the things that you want. But unfortunately for Willard, it seems that on the back of this, and even if you go back to his departure at Seton Hall prior to coming to Maryland, it seems that his character leaves a lot to be desired. And do notice that if you go back to his time at the podium at the end of Seton Hall prior to coming to Maryland, and you play that, and then you play his time at the podium when it came to, oh, will he leave Maryland? Won't he leave Maryland? That sort of thing. It is damn near identical, damn near verbatim what he said. So really, again, I think Kevin Willard is just somebody who comes off as not a real honest broker, and his exits first at Seton Hall, now at Maryland, and who knows, maybe at Villanova at some time. Either him or his agent, they don't know how to manage these exits, and I think it's just a pity. Now, Villanova, I hope that for any of the fans of Villanova that come across this program, I hope that you guys get as many Elite Eights, Final Fours, and national championships during his time as much as possible. Why? Because I think now, with the fact that I think it's fair to say here at the DMV that Kevin Willard is persona non grata out here, and if I were him, I would certainly be skipping town, because I'm sure that nothing is going to be named after him at Maryland or anywhere anytime soon. The reason he's got a target on his back really is because now, with all the comments that he made about Maryland's athletics program and the whole stuff with the money and NIL, that sort of thing, he put a target on his back in terms of the expectations that now he must achieve at Villanova. Now, of course, Villanova, you don't have to compete with basketball. Basketball plays in a different conference at Villanova than what basketball does. But now he sets himself up for, if he reaches anything less than an Elite Eight, a Final Four, or a national championship, then all this move, and all this noise that he made about, oh, he wants more resources at Maryland. And, the university president and the interim athletic director were all willing to give it to him, only for him to say, oh, screw you, I'm going to Villanova. If he does not achieve an Elite Eight, Final Four, or a national championship at Villanova after all of the noise that he made to Maryland, then his tenure at Villanova, however long it lasts, is going to be nothing short of a failure. So again, if for all the Villanova fans out there, I'm hoping for you guys' sake that he gets all of this top stuff in terms of Elite Eights, national championships, and that sort of. He should achieve that every year, in my judgment. And I also think that, and again, I go back to all the noise and this kind of sort of soap opera stuff with Willard here. I think a lot about ceilings, and this stuff that Kevin Willard achieved at Maryland with getting to the Sweet 16. All right, getting to the Sweet 16. This may very well be his ceiling. So again, I hope for the fans of Villanova, you guys get Elite Eights, Final Fours, and national championships. Because again, I think for Willard, this may, in terms of getting to a Sweet 16, it's as good as it gets, maybe for him. We'll see. The jury will be out on that one. Now, Buzz Williams, just for the record, he's got a better win percentage than Kevin Willard, and also has a better tournament performance than Kevin Willard. So again, we will see how things go in this. The Big East, I'm sorry to say this, Big East is an irrelevant conference. I'm just going to say it. Big East is an irrelevant conference in terms of the landscape of college sports. It's an irrelevant conference. And let's also think about it. Big East in this year's NCAA tournament, for the men's side of it, only had 5 teams. 5 teams. The SEC, 14 teams. Big Ten had 8. So again, if Kevin Willard, he wants to move from the Big Ten Conference, because the pecking order has been in recent years, SEC, Big Ten. If he wants to go to the Big East and do all this stuff, again, more power to him. But I think that kind of leads to what I'm also going to say about Damon Evans. And that is that with him, in picking SMU and going and taking the SMU job, it's an easier job. It's an easier job. It's not a better job. Certainly not in my judgment. I mean, when you look at this stuff, SMU, you have a lower student population. There are not as many sports, and it's an irrelevant conference. It's an irrelevant conference. And when you look at the men's basketball program over there at SMU, they've never won a national championship. Never won a national championship. Their most recent tournament appearance was in 2017. And the last Sweet 16, their last Sweet 16 that they've ever achieved was in 1967. All right. And then for the women, they have no national championship. Just like the men, no national championship. Their last tournament appearance was in 08. And then they have not gotten past the second round since 2000. So I look at this and I'm like, man, these two guys have really, in the grand scheme of it, and especially in the context of today's college football landscape, they took a step back. They take a step up. They took a step back. And I think that again, look, depending on your situation, you have every right to do what you want. But that does not mean that we cannot criticize those moves, especially with the way that those moves were made. Now, granted, um, with Damon Evans, the moves were obviously less commode. There was much less acrimony to his departure, but I don't see going from. And remember, in the case of Evans, he started, being AD at Georgia. All right, he started at Georgia, CC, then going to Big Ten at Maryland, and now you're going to the ACC. Um, that's SMU, and again, ACC is becoming, and I think, in my opinion, has already become an irrelevant conference. So I just see all of this as massive downgrades, and really now with the result of Damon's departure, there is one person who I think needs to be, I think, a little worried about his time and really start to think about, oh, what's going to happen to the future of his program. And that is Mike Locksley, who is the current head football coach at the University of Maryland. Now, remember, Locksley, prior to this season, which was not so great, prior to this season, he had two back-to-back bowl wins. Two back-to-back bowl wins. And, you cannot sneeze at that. That is good stuff. That's worthy of celebration in and of itself. But I honestly believe that really after this past season's not so great performance, he's going to be under pressure now to deliver, especially with our recruit that is coming in, Malik Washington. I'm really hoping for his sake that he does very, very well. Otherwise, once they get a new AD, once Maryland gets a new athletic director, he or she, they're going to want their own people. They are going to want their own people. And I can tell you, if this upcoming later this fall, if this season does not go well, I think anything less than the bowl game or anything under 500, Locksley is good as gone. Again, the the new athletic director, they're going to want to put their stamp on the program. And I just think that right now, the hot seat for Locksley has just gotten hotter. Because Damon's gone, one of his biggest allies, Damon is gone. And right now, until an athletic director is hired, we have to see what will happen, especially with what they want to decide to do with the football program. And football, they've already have put a lot of investment in the facilities. The practice facility is incredible. There's a lot of interesting other developments that have been going on as well over the years. But I honestly think that now that your biggest ally has jumped ship to another school, it's now more pressure on him as the head coach to really, really bounce back after last year. Now, could he do it? The jury will be out. But there's now a lot more pressure than there was had Damon Evans stayed. So those are the dynamics. This is where we are. And I'll just say one last thing here. That CBS, they did an article on some of the dynamics with Kevin Willard's departure, some stuff with the athletic department, that sort of thing. We'll have a link there in the description below. But definitely, I just believe genuinely that character and integrity really does matter. I think this was a masterclass as to how not to depart from a really, 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 really good job. And I think that the Maryland program is, and I may be a little biased because it's my alma mater, but the Maryland job is really one of the top jobs in this country. And I think that, again, this is pure textbook as to how not to burn bridges all the way out. Now, I think there's nothing that I think has occurred during Willard's era that I think warranted the kind of sort of scorched earth tactics and the kind of string along that Kevin Willard has done. I don't see anything that supports what he did. Again, I think he's got every right to entertain offers, pursue stuff as he sees fit. Now, look, had he said during when he was being asked about the Villanova job or any other job, what I would have said was, look, when you have such a good run like we are having, you're going to have suitors. My focus right now is on the team. My focus right now is on my team, and any other outside offers, any noise, I will look to address that once our season is over. If he was just straight up with the public, not, oh, I don't know. Oh, I need to speak with my wife. I haven't talked to my agent. Agents like to do this, that, and the third. If he was just straight up honest from the jump, then I don't think you would have the entire or almost the entire DMV um, throwing pitchforks at the guy. You know, so that's how that is. And I think that really for Willard, um, he better deliver in Villanova. He just better do that. Otherwise, it's just going to be another disappointment. Buzz Williams, who is now the men's basketball coach at Maryland, has a higher winning percentage than Willard, better tournament appearance, better tournament record than Willard. Again, we'll see whether that translates on the court, but I think that from first glance, this is a very good hire for Maryland. I think that is going to be really, really good, and we will just have to see what happens. So, thank you very much for watching. Do like, subscribe, ring the bell for more commentary like this. This show, Fit to Speak, will be back later this month for the 6th season of shows. So I hope you'll be able to join us. Thanks for watching. We will not be silenced.